All right. Some of the crazy things that we witnessed, and without a doubt, are factually happening, not conspiracy theory or anything like that. But I've witnessed it, seeing it. People's phones getting scrambled while you're there. So it'll show a virus has been injected or something into your phone. You can't make incoming, outgoing calls. What does that mean? That's why live feeds weren't going in and out.
Whoa.
So that's why you can't even send out what was happening there at the time. There's mercenaries that are literally hired like privacy, almost like Blackwater. So I don't know if it's conspiracy theory or not. Somebody said they confirmed it as an actual Blackwater employee or Aloha. But when we were doing one of the interviews with actually the son of Dave Archambault, who's a tribal leader of the tribal council of Standing Rock, while we're on the river, while we're talking with the family, right? Literally down the river in a canoe. I have the picture. I'll show you too. Down the canoe, two mercenaries like trying to creep, just looking at us down the.
What? That's insane.
I mean, it's funny, and we're just looking at it, we're just waving like, what the freak is this? And so I'm thinking like there's just people like part of the camp or something, and the people we're with, they're like, she's like, I think her name's Sophia. She's like, I'm from here. I know everybody up and down this river. That ain't no we know. Like that's DAPL. They're up and down here all the time. DAPL security, DAPL mercenaries that they hire. People on sniper rifles. People literally on sniper rifles. No exaggeration. On high hilltops, we have to use drones left and right that they're shooting down, confiscating illegally. So it's a confiscation of journalism of what's happening. So you don't get the full picture basically. So first-hand experience is the best.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the Mad Mamluks. I'm Mahin and I'm here with my co-hosts, SIM and Mort. It's been a minute since we've been talking to y'all, but we've had a roundtable discussion lined up. And joining us today is one of our listeners and also a good friend of mine, a guy I go way back to from my days at Ohio State. Some of y'all might know him on social media as Yusuf Cincinnati. So Yusuf was in town for an Al-Maghrib Institute class and decided to drop by. I invited him a couple months ago because of some of the work he's been doing. He's a dentist by profession, but he was out in Standing Rock, that North Dakota pipeline situation, and he's always someone on the scene. So Yusuf, first of all, Jazakallah khair for coming through. Appreciate it.
Well, yeah, assalamu alaikum.
Yeah, you're leaving tomorrow. So what's the story? Like, let's talk about it. We're gonna talk about a couple things, but this pipeline was a big issue in the fall, right? And I guess President Obama had signed it, where there was the issue was it was kind of went away, but it's going to come back now. It's relevant. So brief our listeners real quick about what this pipeline's about, the issues regarding it, and maybe why Muslims should be concerned, and why you actually went out of your way to get out there and stand with the reservation.
Well, this thing actually started. I mean, you might think it started, recently because it's what's in the media, but this actually started probably back in March or April, 2016. When basically people find out what was happening about the pipeline. Pipeline's basically running north of the Standing Rock Reservation. And the natives there basically peeped what was happening. Didn't want the pipe running through their water, through their land, respected by the Fort Laramie Treaty. It's basically treaty land according to paperwork. That's the litigation that they're going for. But on the other end, it's basically Army Corps engineers land, which that's what they're giving the permits. So that's why they have to ask the federal government, and also private land, depending on who you ask, right? So I mean, obviously our side is native land, the other side is private land plus federal land. But like I said, it started around April, March. That's when the youth did a run to gain awareness of it. It's basically started by youth, women, and elderly. That's the crazy part. So. You can read online about it a lot. You can go to, I think they had a litigation website actually. So it shows you the timeline of events and how it started, and actually what they're suing for, what the other side is countersuing for, etc. But what made me really just go out there is this random current event. So I'm just a normal dude off the street. I'm not like crazy activist or
You're
nothing like that.
not a social justice warrior?
I mean. I doubt it, man.
No, I mean, it's a term these days, right? People
Yeah.
walk out there and just jump for anything, right? So I'm just trying to see, do you go out to are you normally at protest, or you just happen to be
that's the thing. I used to be when I was an undergrad, like randomly here and there. But since then, the first thing I probably went to was actually Standing Rock in like 15 years, maybe.
Okay.
Like straight up. So I'm always down, just like your average person. Like you might be down for the cause, or you might not be, but you're always down for the cause, but you're really not doing much. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
you just be behind the keyboard, telling people, spreading stuff on as awareness. Your coworkers or whatever and whatnot. But what happened was there's a sister in Cincinnati, so she's like.
There's always a sister
times a million.
There's always a sister behind the cause.
No, but for real, man, just mashallah, this sister's legit name. I basically got hip to it through her. So I knew about Standing Rock from online and what was happening. I never in my life met a native person, just like probably majority of people who was nowhere near a reservation, right, in America.
Right.
So I don't know if y'all have or not, but I don't know nothing about no native rights, native solidarity, like nothing what's going on, just besides what we read in the history books, right?
Yeah, I thought Andrew Jackson killed them all off. I thought they were gone.
Right. Suck for 11.
Got that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
No, I'm kidding.
that's the thing. So like,
But like real, like you always meet a white dude to be like, yeah, I'm like 1/11th native, right?
right? Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
That's what you mean.
No, but that's the funny part though, because you'll find a lot of people who claim they're native stuff, but they're really not native. They just say it just to fit in. Like, oh, I'm native, But there's people who are legitimately like native today, like they live on reservation land, like they've been continuing this on for generations.
Right.
They're just not like in parts of like, and a lot of times people know some of the original tribe, like Iroquois and all these people, right? They know them. But there's other tribes that are still around there, and that's what's crazy. Because when I went to New Mexico, right, there are a lot of them over there. And like I actually met one of the chiefs over there because we did a project a long time ago, a solar project, and I got to know some of these people, like they've been around carrying this tradition on for generations. And so it's crazy. But yeah, go ahead.
So the sister basically, she already went out there. She'd been out there, right? And I seen pictures on Facebook. So I'm like, dang, you actually went out there? Like, what's up with this? So then, obviously she's from Cincinnati. She's like down with the cause, like most social justice causes. So I just asked her, like, what was you doing out there? And she had, the funny thing is, she had a picture next to Jill Stein too in one of the pictures. I'm like, what is happening? What's going on over here? You know what I mean? And so I just asked her like, and she told me, she's like, yeah, we're going. And at that time, I think she had already come back, or I'm not really sure what was going on. But I just shot her like, hey, let me know next time y'all going up. And so she did. She's like, hey, we going up. And I'm like, all right, bet. And it was just a random thing. Like, it's just
you guys drove out there?
Yeah, we drove out there in a 24-hour straight up car ride, 24-hour, like literally.
Wow.
All the way up. We didn't sleep or nothing, didn't stay nowhere, just ran all the way through. And so we went up there, and then basically, everybody has their different agendas of what they're trying to do, but majority, obviously 99% is basically native solidarity,
Right. So I've been kind of looking into the issue, and so what I see is there's a couple things going on here. You have obviously there's native people that are worried about their land and their traditional burying grounds and things like that. But then you have another group of people that are worried about clean water, and then you have another group of people that are worried about like getting on to clean energy. And so all of them kind of together are kind of bonding together to fight this pipeline coming through.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
But now on the counter perspective, though, from what I've been reading, is I heard that they originally came to the natives and said, "Hey, look, we're going to give you some money if we can come through your land and bring this pipe in, because they already have some existing pipes already running through." So they said, "We're going to give you some money," and so what they're claiming is, this is allegedly, I don't know what the truth is, but the natives apparently refused that amount of money and they wanted more money. So they said, okay, we're going to bypass that and go around and then come back in. And so this is what they're saying. They're saying, well, then once we decided to bypass them and go around through what they call government land, and that's when the protests started coming about. And they started bringing the attack dogs and all this kind of stuff. So what did you see when you went out there? Like, how true is what they're saying?
Everything you just said is basically bull crap. Let me go step by one. So like I said, when I went there, so alhamdulillah, like when I went there, I had the best experience just from like, I like to say I'm like a street anthropologist. I love like learning about people's cultures or like where they're from, what they're doing. So when we went up there, I went with another brother named Savine. So he was a journalist studying journalism at Xavier. So he actually put a paper out for his newspaper. But anyways, we basically did mass interviews and stuff. So we actually met with like J.R. American Horse. He's like the elder. He was the first person. Reportedly, he's saying he's one of the first people that was at there meaning like at the camp. He started the camp with 9 people, and it grew to at one point 10,000. You know what I'm saying? So it was basically first notice. So the stuff that you're saying right now, what the reality is that it was supposed to go through Bismarck, which is 1 hour north of there. Okay, majority white area. basically they didn't want it around their area. They voted it out.
Okay.
So what they did is, even if you look at the map where it was, and that's like you can't just,
it goes more up and then back down. The original one.
The original one was supposed to go through Bismarck. Like I said, Bismarck. Yeah. What they did was they just went right like north right of the reservation, like right there. Meaning like we can't go through the reservation. Let me just go right here. You feel me? So it's basically somebody in your backyard putting a humongous.
So their main concern is what though? That if that pipe leaks, that it's going to contaminate their native land. Is that the main concern, or is there actual like burial grounds? Because I know it's outside of their land, but I know there's also.
So this is the issue. So for the Fort Laramie Treaty, I think it was 1868, right? All that land is Lakota land. So Lakota is like, that's where the name comes from. Lakota. That's where the actual name.
Like that mafia, bro.
That land is theirs. They're the largest tribe actually in America. Okay.
Okay.
And it spans even to Canada. Okay. I mean, traditionally, right?
Right.
Obviously, before all this crap happened, people pushed them into reservations and whatnot. Right. So, all that land that you're talking about, just think about what you're saying. So, all that stuff there, all those sacred sites that's sacred to them, is technically not on reservation land, right? But then, why is that sacred sites there? You see what I'm saying? So, if I'm from Ohio, let me give you an example. I'm from Ohio, right? I don't know if you remember Mahin. You learn about mounds. Burial mounds?
Yeah, I remember. Like I slept through most of that, but
down here too. Yeah. So I was actually listening randomly on an NPR episode. Just randomly, it just came on. They was talking about burial mounds in Ohio.
Yeah.
Nobody knows where that came from, or technically where it came from, who did it, or anything like that. Right? I mean, from what I understand, from what I heard, the interesting thing when you think about it, it's like, okay, so where are the people at? Right? So I mean, this is literally a genocide of Native Americans, right? I mean, they still, for sure, it still exists and it's still popular. So it's actually offensive to say, "Oh, I didn't know you exist." You know, take a cultural competency. No offense to what you're saying, but
he's always.
I'm just saying, it's like it's offensive to them because they're like, "Hey, we've been here." You know what I'm saying? Like we've been.
So
here.
let me recap. So the argument that even though that's outside of Native territory, that's still they consider it's their land.
Where did that come from, right? So let me put it like this. So for real, what happened was what sparked it off, from what I understand. So besides April, people still up there calling all the natives like, "Hey, show up! Hey, they coming through our land. They're trying to take our stuff. Native sovereignty, solidarity." So people started coming through. What happened was a little bit north of the camp, the main camp that we're at right now. A little bit north of that, basically they had, I guess we would call it like a sacred graveyard. Okay, so part of the rules is, right, for Dakota, you can't just run through a historical site, right? Because it's federally protected and whatnot. You have all these laws and rules. So they basically found out that that's a grave site because the natives were like, "Hey, you coming through our stuff? Like our stuff is right here." You feel me? So when that happened, they went miles south from where they were drilling, miles south, right? Demolished the graveyard. So almost like, I was trying to relate to the sound. So like, say it's like Baqi Gharqat, right? Like somebody just demolished that whole thing. Like, oh, we just bulldozing real quick and then dipped back out. And you're like, oh, it didn't exist. You feel me? So that's what's happening. So that's what really sparked that day when that happened. I think that was in August or so, or in the fall sometime. That basically, when that started happening, that's when it sparked. People started coming out, and that's when the dogs came out, the mercenaries. You know what I mean?
But is that land though? Is that what the Marine Corps considers their property, the private land?
That's private land. From what I understand, it's sacred land to them. Let me give you an example. So when you go there, for example, it's literally like the haram. Like you can't. For example, you can't take pictures. Like you can't take pictures of that area because it's offensive to them in their culture and religion. So, but yeah, if you're talking about that's outside point blank, it's outside of reservation land. Okay?
And this reservation land was land that was just given. I mean, what they tried to. I mean, it wasn't negotiated by them. It was just given to them by the.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, so yeah. the treaty extends all the way to friggin' like super north, hundreds of miles north. You feel me? So. What you're talking about is
so
like...
it's outside the reservation.
What we're talking about is... That's what I'm saying. When you're talking about the opposite end is talking about, well, it's not on their land. See? So what they complain about, you feel me? But like I'm saying, if it's right there in your backyard, first of all, number two is they taking your stuff. So the same thing of Israel-Palestine issue, there's no difference right now with this. That's really the issue. It's the same thing, and which is reason why they actually tore down an Israeli flag that was up there. Because they recognize the solidarity between it, you know what I mean?
Yeah. A Muslim just woke up now in this episode. The Muslim just woke up. They were like,
not the Muslims.
They're like, oh man, what do we care?
No. But he brings up a good point because a few years ago I would be thinking, you know what? There's a lot of other issues in the Muslim world. Why is this guy worrying about Native American people's issues? So go ahead.
So this is the thing. So like, I mean, go up there. I mean, I'm down with like every cause. Like I'm down with. I know this bro culture, alt-right Muslim thing that's going on is not cool with me. So like this Black Lives Matter, I'm down with it. You feel me? Yeah. I'm down with a lot of stuff that I guess for some reason people aren't down with. You know what I mean? I'm not talking about like those specific issues that are contrary to Islam. I'm just talking about the general agenda, right? So same thing there. When we go up there, I mean, alhamdulillah, like it was the best experience. It's like a life-changing experience almost, okay? So when you go up there, the solidarity that you have from every people in the world. I'm talking about native, not even native, like besides native, let me back it up. First of all, we don't know native, like we're saying we, right? They know each other, you know what I'm saying? So this place that we're living in is technically originally their land, right? So when we go to their reservation, or like when I did, and when I stayed at technically the freaking federal land, whatever, which is their land, right? Originally. When I'm saying their land, it's really them. It's their stuff. They're not a foreigner. But we're looking at them like they're a foreigner. They're just this random brown people just sitting over in that corner. You know what I'm saying? So they have their own cultures, their own religion, their own ways of doing things. Everything is prayerful, peaceful. That was like the main motto that was basically predominant in that area.
Yeah, because I heard that ground, that burial ground, is like supposedly some sacred warrior burial ground where they have some kind of like rituals they do, like when they go and where they invoke prayers or something like that. The elders go there and do that.
Yeah, and I mean when I was there, that maybe 2 days before I left, they actually had a prayer service when I was up there. So we almost rode up there, but. So are these natives? I mean, so this is bigger than just the pipeline coming through, right? This is what I'm saying. This event. Let me put it like this. This event is historic in Native history and particularly American history, right? This is the only time since I think they said 200, 300 years where this many natives from different tribes. So when we think of natives like they're all natives, they're all the same, right? You got to think about different countries. So it's just like Sri Lanka, India, Pakistan. It's almost like grouping everybody together where it's like, nah, we're technically different, but we're coming together for this. You feel me? So I'm talking about from every corner of the earth natives, Maori people from New Zealand doing the haka, you know what I'm saying? People from freaking South America, dude. I have it on my phone. I'll show you the videos later. But Mexica, they call Mexica. Mexica, the natives of Mexico, right? Not like an average Mexican. The natives of Mexico came from Mexico while I was there, up there. You feel me? They don't speak no English. They just came up there in solidarity, living there. You know what I'm saying? In solidarity. People from all the reservations in America, from Canada, First Nations to down here. And I mean, from out looking it up, I mean, I'm not no historian, nothing like that, but when I was listening to actually another historian, he was basically saying, I think the last time that happened was a couple hundred years ago maybe 200 years ago with, the name Pontiac, right? So Pontiac is kind of a legend. He's one of the famous chiefs or the elders that basically brought all the tribes together to fight. I think it was to fight the French at the time. Yeah. So this is one of those things where it's completely historic. That's just the native side. If you're talking about the non-native side, dude, every corner of the earth is over there. Like I met this lady, random German lady, just barely speak no English, just speaking German. You know what I'm saying? Asking for a ride home back to California. I'm like, shoot. Like, I mean, Ireland, every country was out there. People are just down for the cause. You know what I
mean?
Yeah. So I mean, because I guess part of the thing is like, right now, are there existing pipelines that go through it? Because I know there's an existing pipeline that goes through that area, right?
From what I understand, the same thing. From what I understand, yeah, I think there is a existing pipeline.
So are they trying to get just...
But there's no oil pipeline, though.
So what is that pipeline right now that's running through?
I think it's just water and probably electric and gas, I think.
Okay, so it's not an oil pipeline.
From what I understand, no.
But the proponents of the pipeline are saying that this will allow America to be energy independent. Mm-hmm. And can you comment on that? Is there any truth to that?
Say that again?
That America can be energy independent.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Like, you're talking about 800 gallons of
I think I just saw on the news, I think Ireland actually divested in every single... like coal, anything that's polluting. It's just announced. They basically the first country that, or not the first, but
well, Germany does that too. Germany has no more.
Yeah, so I'm saying it's not something that's like impossible. First of all,
I mean, they want, there's this idea that we have to get off of Middle East oil, and we have to be able to drill in our own homeland and be.
No, but you know what the bigger argument is? The big argument is that look. we need to get oil from Canada into America, right? That's just because they are, and in North Dakota as well, they found a huge oil reserve. And the most efficient way to transport this oil is through pipelines. If you do it over cargoes or trains,
over people's graves. The issue is really the oil, though.
No, I get what you're saying, but I'm taking the argument they're making. They're saying if we do it over trains and big rig, this is number one, a hazard, and that it's just going to cost way too much money.
Right.
And so they're saying that right now these pipes that they're using are supposed to be like the best ever in technology. Like they're not going to leak. They're not going to do anything. There are already existing pipes there, so we're just going to go through what's one more pipe. And now, don't get me wrong, I'm not taking a side on this, right? But I'm saying is, I'm also trying to understand where they're coming from.
So let me put it like this: the counter to that. I mean, that's true. That's exactly what they're saying, right? That's you can't deny that. That is what they're saying. The counter to that is you just have to look it up, like literally look it up, see how many pipelines bursted from the same company. Either from Keystone or from any of the parent companies. They have a list, like hundreds of leaks. Yeah. Not only that, during this time, which is amazing, like subhanAllah, it was almost like a sign from Allah, like while this stuff was happening, a pipeline busted in freaking 100 miles away from Standing Rock.
Well, one of the things they were saying was when these pipes leak, and I forget even bust, there's no way of telling when they leak. Because they're underground. The
other recent one just happened too. It was 100.
Yeah, 100 they don't have a monitor for these pipes, so you can't tell if it's a small leak or how big the leak is. It's just when a disaster happens, there's a leak in the pipe.
Oh yeah. Right? I saw that movie just recently
with Matt Damon.
Yeah, that was a great
I saw
movie.
that. Yeah, that was solid.
So like I said, like when people go up there. I mean, I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying my personal thing was basically Native solidarity because I felt like people, they've already been raped. They're just raping them again. You feel me? So I'm not going to get down with that. So as far as the energy independence, I'm not like super green or anything.
Yeah, no,
me personally, I'm not saying nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying me personally, I'm not. So,
are you a vegan? Nah, just go ahead and admit it right now. Vegetables,
Well, I mean, Yusuf, I think your point. I think the point is really that I saw some documentary where the residents in like the Caucasian residents in that area were like they were going to run it through their town. They're like, no, don't run it through our town.
Bismarck,
you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And they moved to right.
And I think a lot of things like the America that we live in today. We're so narcissistic, right, and individualistic, right, that you don't really care as long as it's within your own self-interest. And I think that's I asked you about how do we as Muslims approach this? We have to look at like there's a balance. Like I'll be very honest with you, as someone as an engineer in the steel industry, we make steel for pipe and tube companies. And with the recent downfall of the oil and gas recession and whatnot, we've had to shut down mills, and have lost money, and my bonus checks get affected by it.
Yeah.
And as much as there's been problems with the Trump administration when Rex Tillerson got appointed as Secretary of State. Even I was talking to some like my friends who hate Trump. They live in Houston. They work for like Chevron or Schlumberger, and they were like excited too. It's like, man, we about to get paid. But that's the initial reaction that pops up. You understand what I'm saying? Because we know that we're like Tillerson's gonna frack the hell out of our parking lot. Everything's gonna get fracked, and we're just gonna make a bunch of steel, for pipe and tube, and the oil companies and my buddies.
But at the end of the day,
just to comment on that real quick though. So I did a little homework, a fact check on that, and they're claiming that there's supposed to be thousands of jobs, and it's been a 10-year project, and that it's gonna create all this great economy. And
claim 20,000 jobs. That's what the claim is.
They did research on this. And they came back with official numbers, and it didn't contest. They said it'll only have about 1,000 jobs, like I think 1,300 people, and the project will only last 1 year. And of those 1,300 people that'll be working, I think like 37 will remain full time after it's done.
Look, if you
but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about me as like my company makes steel for type and tube, right? So we're getting paid because we're supplying the material, right? And it might be a short-term thing, but like that's how we think. Like I think the natural reaction, like as people of faith, we check that. Like I still check that after. That's my initial reaction. What I'm getting at, that's my initial reaction.
Is what?
That I'm going to get paid. This is a good thing for me because my bonus checks are going to get better.
That's what I'm saying. But another way of looking at it is you have a moral and ethical obligation, right? To have halal money.
But then I check myself because the faith aspect kicks in. I'm like, wait, I can't just look at that from purely greed.
So and I think most
money. Now most people, right, don't get that. They're not going to get there. they're like they justify. And I don't think that this is the fake religiosity we see in America today, where people talk about being pro-life, but like they ain't taking no refugees in, for example,
it's
right?
about empathy, right?
Yeah.
It's literally about empathy. That's what I'm saying. If you imagine you yourself, this is your people. Allah could have placed you in any other situation. You could have been freaking Brother Bashir. We ain't get to that point. The Muslims that I met that are native, by the way, that are out there, but you could have been Bashir in freaking Cheyenne River Sioux Reservation. Then what? Is it the same way? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's empathy. Like, just because you didn't experience it doesn't. Look at this Muslim ban, right? That we're talking about right now. When I went to O'Hare, maybe 99% that I'm seeing out there is non-Muslim people out there, and they're doing it for you. You know what I'm saying, or for us, or whoever's immigrant. You know what I mean? Or who's affected.
But you know what though? This kind of leads me to another discussion real quick. Sorry to just a bit, but we're talking about how, and we were talking about this earlier. There are some non-Muslim groups that maybe don't share our interest about everything.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But they're coming out to support us. I mean, and I'm talking about clearly against what we as Muslims believe.
Yeah.
But they're siding with us, right? So how do we return the favor while still maintaining what's, without compromising?
You just don't compromise. I mean, you can have your same value. I mean, like, I don't have to. I don't have to agree with certain.
Well, I'll give you an
example.
example. We were talking about this earlier today, okay? And a lot of the first groups to come out and protest some of these things against Muslims are gay rights groups, right? So, and when they have like rallies supporting gay marriage, you find a lot of Muslim groups are very reluctant to go out and support gay marriage because it's not really part of our religion. I mean, it's against our doctrine. So where do we rectify that? Do you see what I'm saying?
I feel like it's a personal thing. If that person Muslim doesn't see it as conducive to the religion, they're not gonna go. It hasn't been, right? And then the ones that are looking at it, there's always going to be a different camp, right? Of a Muslim, right? Like, I don't care. It doesn't bother me. The other one's like, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah, how can we do this? And then the other one might be
I see where you're coming from. Like, there's some people who are just going purely on solidarity.
Yeah.
And there's some people who are going based on principle.
Right. Let me give you an example. If a church burned down or something, just like a mosque burned down, would you just be like, oh, that sucks? You know what I'm saying? That
sucks for you.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's the same thing with the neighbor. Maybe we might not have the same culture practice, the same belief. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, that's just how I do it. It's like,
well, if a church burnt down, right? Yeah. Some dude might be like, man,
let me build it for you.
Yeah, because that's where that shirk.
Mahin shows up like, you did it.
That shirk and kufr going down there. They worship. They saying God has a son. Deserve.
No,
I mean, I know.
How you gonna marry a Christian? How you gonna marry your wife?
I'll just put devil's advocate.
I can't go to the church, but I can marry you though.
But I know what he's saying though, because some people say, "Oh, this is like God's punishment on these Christians for being idolaters."
Yeah.
I mean, they'll say stuff like that.
I think what in the context that Yusuf was talking about was if something unfortunate happened where there was someone who was persecuting Christians and they burned down a church.
Yeah,
of course, Muslims would be with that Christian community, and we would affiliate ourselves, and we would show our support with them, and that support and affiliation does not necessarily mean that we also embrace Jesus as the Son of God.
Right before I left to staying right before I left in tradition in their Lakota culture, they'll do a lot of sage burning, okay, and basically bless. I guess their practice bless you. So I just personally wasn't okay with that. Meaning I don't care what they do to anybody else, But for me personally, I wasn't okay. So I just told the brother like, I'm okay.
Maybe he was doing some ruqya on you, man.
Well, that's it. I just said I'm okay.
Why are you declining?
he went for a powwow.
I mean, I told him not trying to be offensive. He was like, he asked me why. I'm just telling him like, in our religion we have certain religious practices that it's just written down. You don't do nothing besides that. Pretty much that's it.
But see, this is what I'm talking about. See, I think, and this is what I'm trying to get at right now. Muslims have no problem with them joining in solidarity with other groups, as long as we don't lose our principles, our compromise.
Like for example, you gotta have a foundation to ground it, right? No matter what you do.
I'm sorry, what was that?
You gotta have a foundation and
that's what I'm trying to say.
No
so as long as we don't compromise what we believe in, I think this is great. But I think sometimes we find some Muslims who blur that line just because they're trying to just. Maybe they
want to be accepted. They want to be accepted.
I don't.
They don't want to be.
No, but I don't want to generalize. Maybe they're over emotional. Maybe they want to be accepted. Maybe they're just in charge.
I feel like it just comes out on some real stuff. It's either knowledge or practice. Or both. So you can have. So I have a friend. We got a mutual friend, but that like might be super secular liberal. But at the end of the day, they're Muslim, alhamdulillah, and everything. But You ask them
They
anything
got some
about
real whack views, bro.
Well, that's what I'm
Like, they
saying.
got a Christmas tree up?
No, I'm saying if you ask anything religious, they won't know a damn thing about it. So that's what I'm saying. Like it's really irrelevant. What we're saying is kind of like irrelevant. It's like it's almost like if you're talking about Sheikh Yasser Bridges. I don't know, doing something like that, and you're like, what the heck is going on here? Versus like some, person just, trying to do what's right in their heart. They have the right intention, but they might not have the knowledge and practice with it behind it. So, I mean, I'm not sweating that.
I mean,
they don't know, right?
I feel like what you're saying is that a lot of us who may be like, there's this whole term called woke, right? If you're going to be Muslim and woke, you got to be woke towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like my boy Dallas Wright from Iman, he posted yesterday. He was like, Muslim ban. Is there a Muslim ban at the masjid? Because the state of the masjid, I go for any salah. I figured there's like a Muslim ban there.
Oh, man.
You know what I mean? He's like, Allah
Finger.
Mustaan. He was straight up. I was like, but that's because the shuyukh, I heard this from Dr. Shadi al-Masri or Sheikh Abdul Nasser. They're like, we got to get, in letters activism, well, you got to get that spiritual side. That's an opportunity to ramp that up too, because at the end of the day, we believe in barakah from Allah and support from Allah, and we just don't rely on dunyawi means.
Right. There's not going to be no benefit if you don't have no spiritual side to it.
Right. So I think,
especially in that we're talking about.
So I feel like when we're joining like such movements, right? Like for example, like you were able to distinguish, like, hey, I got this check right here when they wanted to do this ceremony. Like, I can't do that, right? And I think Muslims who are going to get involved, they have to have a prerequisite where they're learning Deen, and it's you can't make that mandatory on anybody, right?
But I think Muslim community leaders can do that. It's like Sheikh Umar Suleiman's doing right now in Dallas. He's right now at the airports, and being there with your community and leading the charge, you can be a shepherd for your people.
They'll follow
right?
you, right?
Yeah.
Because they see you as someone, as an imam doing something. They'll say, hey, look, we follow his footsteps.
And him being the leader, he can talk to whoever you talk to, the shaman or whoever want to bless
Elder,
you,
yeah.
but the elder, he can do that representation for you, and you can feel confident that Sheikh Omar or whoever would represent your best interests, so that there's no awkward moments later on.
I mean,
Yeah, 'cause like,
Imam
for
Zayd was
example,
out
in
there
this
when I
case-
was there. He came out. Well, I didn't know he's coming out, but alhamdulillah, he came out like show solidarity. Imam Zayd.
Yeah.
So, actually, he's part native too. I don't know which part, but
but I'm just saying, like in this case, an imam or a leader who could have came out and said and talked to the leader separately and said, hey, you know what? There might be certain practices that we don't take part in, but don't take it offensively. This is what it is.
Well, so that's a beautiful thing when you go there. Like I said, it's gonna be kind of funny, but when you have people from all kinds of people there with different kind of agendas. You might have a super green person up in there. You might have people like me. You might have people from Ferguson came out there, like from the Ferguson riots. People just all over the place.
I heard they
everywhere.
were actually U.S. military veterans that
No,
I
so-
apologize to them. And
So
came out.
that's the funny thing about this. This is the other problem too. So when I was the person I'm talking about, J.R. American, of course, he's a veteran. Terry Martinez, he's a veteran. These are elders that are there. They're veterans from Vietnam. They had a veteran camp they're native veterans. Okay, but the funny thing is, all this call happened. Even my right wing friend that I went to high school with, went to Iraq. A couple
His name
tours.
Mahin?
Nah, he ain't my friend. No, I'm playing. But he, interestingly, the pull of of veterans, like the cultural, that's the guy you spoke about this too. It's like it's such a glorified thing that he saw that. The veteran thing, what you're talking about, spoke out. Basically, a white dude came out. I think he was in the Navy. He came down in solidarity. First, he came out in solidarity. First, he was interviewed. I think one of the Unicorn Riot or whatever it was, and he's basically saying like, he came here he fought for America to protect the people. So he's here to protect the people. You see what I'm saying? When that happened, he basically sent out the call. Everybody started coming through. They had a whole contingency of basically it was natives and non-native veterans that came up through. So what you were saying was basically same thing. They were apologizing. They were saying we're down for the cause. We're here with solidarity. We're here to help. What can we do? Because at that time when it was happening, I think it was in a little bit after October after I left, was that they had blockaded one of the roads completely illegally. It's still like there's probably a lawsuit because you can't block a road for access. Right. This is after. So the graveyard site that was demolished, they put a camp there. They demolished that. They threw out everybody out of that camp, tear gas and everything, all that stuff. Almost every day that's happened. But yeah, they took everybody out of the camp. They blockaded the road, so you can't even physically go there no more because they're we're not trying to have it. So when that happened, and Tala was there. That sister she was actually there this night that I'm talking about specifically. But is this happening tonight where everybody sees it because everybody has their live feeds? Live feeds were getting shut down. But they got it out eventually, and it got popularized, right? Got popularized because one of the water. Oh, by the way, I didn't tell you this. So we don't call them protesters, by the way. So we call them water protectors because when you got to change it. If you're talking about protesting, you're acting like this is not yours. I'm For example, the Muslim ban, like you don't own the airport. You're not nothing, right? Water protector means this is my water. You feel me? This is running through my water. This is my land. So we call these people water protectors. So that's just a side point. So this water protector, her arm blew. I don't know if you guys seen that. Her arm like literally blew up. You seen it? You can see her brachial plexus like right here, like straight up.
Was she amputated?
I don't know. Were
they able to? Yeah,
they flew her out, I think, to Minnesota on emergency. But you're talking about militaries and the police. I brought freaking we brought mail locks. We brought earplugs because they're using LRAD machines. LRAD is like that sonic device that can basically burst your eardrum if you're close to it. It's a sonic device. I mean, this is insane stuff in America that's happening.
Like rubber bullets and tear gas and dogs.
Concussion grenades, like crazy stuff. They were like, killing buffalo.
By the way, just concussion, like if you get like 3 or more concussions in your life, that's like brain damage.
I mean, imagine it's like when you look at the pictures, people actually say like, damn, what country is this in? We passed through a freaking
like South Africa, right?
Like we passed through a checkpoint.
In
America, we passed through a checkpoint, a National Guard checkpoint. You know what I'm saying? You feel like you're in freaking Palestine. You know what I'm saying? Like it's ridiculous.
Yeah. What kind of weapons are these? You mentioned the concussion grenade.
Yeah. These are all confirmed. Like the LRADs for sure is confirmed. Now they have it's just notices
they're supposed to be
missile launcher for drones.
Like
so
weapons.
They were shooting down drones, so you can't even get the media out. They're arresting the journalists, which is illegal. I knew a couple journalists that already arrested. Jihan Hafiz is one of them, but Myron Dewey, he's like he's a native dude with digital smoke signals. I mean, all the time. He got.
Who's the government official in charge? Like this? This is under the Obama administration, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Nobody.
It's not even under Trump. This is under Obama.
Obama did it super late. Yeah, all this stuff was happening to Obama, and then
Obama went down to Oklahoma, saw the pipelines, or the inventory, and kind of blessed it. And then the whole, I think, a movement started, and he kind of canceled the deal. He said, "No, let's put it on hold." And then Obama, and then I think they were still trying to push it through.
So what's happening right now is he revoked the permit. Basically said, no, you can't come through.
Yeah, I mean, they're saying that was a half-hearted revoking of the permit because he knew Trump would go ahead and.
So this is the benefit. So he revoked the permit, and then he also did. You have to do an environmental impact study. So legally, they have to do that first, which could hypothetically take, at the time when I was reading about it, it could take months to hypothetically years, but it'd probably be months or at least weeks, but for sure, like maybe months. Environmental impact study, meaning the community is basically voicing your concern. You're listening to the community. How is it going to impact the environment? If the leaks or anything like that, they have to take it into account. When Trump came in, he gave a memorandum. But interestingly, though, this is on a hopeful note. So everybody knew, like, nobody was stupid over them. You know what I mean? Our people are still down there, like from Cincinnati. They're still up there. They've been up there for like a couple months now. You know what I'm saying? Our contingency is still up there. So they're still holding it down. They don't care who's there, who's not there. They're going to be there till the pipeline is physically not there. So when you talk to any native person that's out there or any person ally, white, black, whatever the hell you are, they're down there for the cause. Like,
how does that happen? Don't they have jobs? I mean, let me put it like this. I'm asking genuinely. So out of sincerity, I'm asking.
I was literally reflecting on this the whole time I was there, and I for real cried. Listen, there's somebody I know that was out there. We asked him. We said, how long you been here for? He says, I came here intentionally. So he's from a tribe. In a different tribe. I don't want to. I don't want to get him in trouble. So
just call it the tribe called Quest.
Yeah, he's from a native tribe, and he says we asked him how long you gonna have you been here for. I think he said maybe 3 weeks, and he said I initially came here. That's what he said. I initially came here for about a week or 2 weeks, and we said how long you been here for? He's like, I've been here for like 3 months, and he said I made a vow. I'm telling you, everything's Islam. He's like, I made a vow that I'm not leaving here. This is for my people. So he left his family, his job, everything for this. So the ayats like your children are a test for you, your wealth is a test for you. I don't care what you say. This controversy. This is their jihad right now. So this is their. They left their families. They left their everything. They dropped it at the drop of the dime to go for the cause, and that's what affected me. Meaning, like, what are you doing? What am I doing?
You know, that blows my mind just about making a vow, because I mean, I make vows all the time about, you know, ketogenic diets and whatnot, but they last like a week or two, you know, and then they break. And I'm not making light of it, because I mean, it's just a problem within us that we don't see anything.
You're right,
we don't take anything seriously. You know?
Look at we chilling. We're a privileged society. When you live on over, we live in freaking teepees over there. Like, literally, no exaggeration, straight up teepees. Breaking wood, throwing wood in the fire.
Too, right?
Yeah, no, but
I almost died. I felt like I was excited, but like I slept. It was negative like 0. It's still negative 0 out there. It's
no, but to be honest though,
60,
but when you say teepees, I mean, they also, some of them choose to live that way too, though, right? Teepees and stuff. I mean, that's
the funny thing. SubhanAllah, it's the best way. All the tents blew away. You can't live in the tent there.
Oh, you can't. Oh.
You can't. So that's what I'm saying. Like, all the SubhanAllah is like, it's amazing that these people have lasted this long and it's working. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying they live in teepees in regular life, but at this camp, because it's a temporary camp.
Yeah,
right?
I'm just wondering, because I know there's reservation. I don't know if they all.
No, reservations don't have teepees. Like, unless it's like education culture or something. They live in like normal houses.
Okay, well, I've never been to one, so I wouldn't know, right?
It's not offensive. I'm just saying, like,
that's always the thing too. You don't want to offend anyone by like if I went over there and I said teepee, possibly that could be possibly offensive, right? Hey, why do you think that we still live in teepees?
No, it's true though, because I know what you're saying, because, you know, if you think they want to be native and they want to be like cultural and like, so you don't know, would we offend them to say something? Because you know what it is? Here's the bottom line. People just don't. It's sad because people just don't know about these people that exist.
Well, that's the problem with us as a people, right? We need to listen before we speak. So you don't just come in there just talking reckless, right? you got to learn. Like,
I mean,
that's
me and Mort are out of.
People talk at their hip, man. Their face get broken.
Yeah.
Like, this is regular street stuff too. Like, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Same thing over there. They had a culture and a religion that it's peaceful and prayerful. So when people acted reckless from not from their people, talking about like, oh yeah, we're gonna we're gonna do this, whatever, you're out of there. You're not in the camp. You're not. No. You can bounce out of. You're not of us. You're not of our people. You're a guest in our land. This is how we do things. So you're gonna follow our rules over here. No drugs, no alcohol, all peace and prayer. Like the whole time you're there.
Yeah, that's awesome, because you know what, there's the opposition will use a small segment of troublemakers to completely discredit your whole cause, just like the riots that happened in Ferguson and whatnot. I mean, oh, look at those savages! They burned down that building and blah blah blah. They're ruining their own neighborhood.
It's amazing that it's almost like psyops, like conspiracy side. Like, if you read it's called Morton County. That's the county that's where the sheriff department. Obviously, we're not gonna read it because it's not like national news or something. But if you read the stuff they say, I swear it's like V for Vendetta. It's like, it's crazy. Like, protesters throwing rocks and blah blah blah. It's like,
no, man.
No, I tell you, if you go there, a bunch of old ladies, kids, like women, dudes praying, sitting there praying in a circle at the front. So
what the interesting thing
not doing nothing. Yeah,
I was reading an article and the guy says that he's like, some of them. Some elders have said, listen, you need to disperse because it's too cold out here. Mm-hmm. So kind of separate. And some people on the private land said, no, we're keeping it open for anybody that wants to stay. Yeah. And one guy said, I'm not leaving until the older and the mothers tell us not to leave or to go. And I found it to be very interesting because it's a matriarchal society, meaning that women are basically holding it down for them, telling them, hey, stay here and do this. I mean, is that true? Is that how it works over there?
I mean, I don't know if it's matriarchal, but they definitely they're not like a quiet role. I'm talking about like they're in there doing work, like doing, and I'm not talking about physical. I'm like, they're at the front lines. The women, I'm telling you, Red Fawn, like she's locked up for federal charges. Everybody got trumped up charges, first of all. When we first get there in the very beginning, and this again, it goes back to militarization of the police state, right? When you first get there, initially it was the citations, right? Like little things like that. Oh, I'm talking about from April, right? As time progressed, it got popular.
Wait, did you get any of those citations or anything like that when you walk in the line?
So people get citations and stuff. And then when you go there, you get, they got Trump. Alhamdulillah, no, I didn't. But you get trumped up charges now. So like it went from minor misdemeanors to basically federal felonies on everybody. So you got legal funds, you got all this stuff that's happening organized. You got just like this band.
So it's like that political pressure first. I mean,
oh yeah, for sure. They're trying to squeeze people out, but that's the funny thing. Like, subhanAllah, that's what I'm saying. It's literally, I'm trying to say is they're mujahideen, like they're for real mujahideen. The people that are out there. I'm not talking about like every single person. Obviously, people got some, different.
But that dude has been there like for 3 months and stuff.
No, he's still there. He's still there. It's not even him. Like the people. That's what I'm saying. People persistent. They still there.
So I want to get your take on something. I had posted something I shared something on Facebook earlier today, and a friend of mine commented. I'll tell you what it was. You guys know Shibli Zaman. He's like an activist.
Yeah, that's my boy. Be careful.
Okay, yeah, so he shared something about.
No, I'm just
shout out Shibli.
I guess there was something about I guess a lady in Georgia was harassed by some like Islamophobe, right?
Yeah.
So Shibli found this dude's like Facebook, his like LinkedIn, found his job, found his address, like call this dude's job up and tell him to fire that dude, right? So I shared it, and a friend of mine was like, "Listen, is that really? Do we want a witch hunt where, we just put people's private information out on blast? Is that the principle we want to operate on?" I'm like, well, it would check these dudes, like it's because you got random Joe Schmo that wants to mess with some sister. Maybe he'll think twice. But at the same time, he was like, yeah, but here's the problem. We're still a minority. And like what you alluded to was there's a double standard. And the minorities, if we're out there putting them on blast like that, they're going to come out and like have trumped up stuff on us.
No,
you don't think so?
Look. Even if it does happen, that's what I'm saying. Are you
they're gonna do it anyways, bro.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Well, where's the manhood? I mean, you're gonna be and just walk out. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Like, you have this inferior complex. Like,
what I'm saying is,
are you down for the cause or not? That's the end of the day.
The only reason why things change right now is because you put it in their face. If you don't hold them accountable for what they do, then they're never going to change.
Yeah.
Do you think there would have been civil rights or Black Lives Matter, or the movement or women's rights or anything without people putting it in their face?
Well, I think that's why the airport protests were successful, because it like basically caused a disruption. Because the establishment folks who are like, I have one of my former coworkers. He's a pro-Trump guy. He's like, well, riots, protesters have certain conditions. They can't shut down traffic. They can't do that. So that's because it's non-disruptive, right? It doesn't do anything. Disruption is what you're saying. Has to happen.
No, it's not so much disruption. It's about holding them accountable. Look, for example, dude. There are plenty of people in this country that give a crap about something, dude. Right? It doesn't even matter if it's like, if it starts with like 9 people and it goes to 10,000 people. That attention demands a response.
It demanded that response that Shibli put up. It demanded an appropriate response to that guy who was a bully, because these days everyone operates in anonymity online. People want to be able to throw whatever insult they can and just get away with it, but not understand that there are repercussions.
Well, if you're saying you're making the bully like the victim, though.
I think it comes down to culture, man. Honestly, man. If you talk to Shibli, for example, if you see his posts, he's not. He's talking about people meet him in the street, meet him on the mat. You know what I mean? Like doing MMA stuff. So some people, it's not part of their culture to be confrontational or whatever like that. Like, I'm kind of similar culture. Like you talk reckless, your face might get broken in. You know what I'm saying? So you have to. I mean, I'm not talking about legal or illegal. I'm just saying, like, if you talk reckless,
no, people have different tempers,
there are repercussions.
Right?
Like
not everybody's a fighter, and everybody's confrontational. I get that, but putting somebody on blast for something they did stupid is not a problem to me, dude.
Yeah, me neither. That's what I'm saying.
If someone's going to take advantage of somebody in a weak situation, they better learn that, hey, everybody in the world, look at this joker that wants to make fun of people when they can't defend themselves. This is the man. That's why they put people who are pedophiles on boards, and bulletin boards in communities. Is that putting them on blast? Is that putting their information out there? Yeah, because they're known to behave a certain way and act a fool.
Well, there's a difference between judge, jury, execution, right? I'm not saying that.
Look, it's not just that. You have
concern is what has to happen is like, if it's not true, like it could just be some random person just got lambasted for no reason. It's like, oh man, that dude got killed yesterday. Like, what?
But if it's proven that this is a dude, I'm saying you got to be careful when you're posting people's information, and when you're posting, you have to be really careful because that's sensitive and that could be libel. That could be a big
right, especially because there have been sisters faking stuff.
Yeah, and that's nothing that bothers me. And I'm sorry, I know there's a lot of man. Thank God you brought that up, dude. What is up with these people, man? When they gotta be talking, why would you make up stories? Like, listen, there was a certain YouTube blogger that recently got kicked off of a flight, and it was part of like some kind of elaborate, like, prank thing. And to me, that bothers me, man. Like, you have real people out there that are going through real discrimination, like real problems. that deal with this daily, and your mockery of it is, you know what? It's like people who cry wolf.
I mean, that's exactly it, though. There's people who want attention to themselves, and we know those people. They're all over our community. Some are well known, some are not. They want
I don't
attention,
get that, man.
and they bring that attention to themselves by pulling these kind of stunts. Now, we're not going to name any names, but
I don't wanna name
we know who they are, and
But whoever you are, you have to stop that. Stop it. It's not cool. It's not cute. It's not funny. It's not popular. It's dangerous for everybody. It's dangerous for your sisters, for your mothers, for your daughters. I mean, it's a dangerous thing for them.
No, and
it's not
what
a joke.
As soon as
son, man, move so you can't.
no, the alt-right uses this stuff.
Getting grimy on the mic.
No, look, the alt-right uses this stuff and says like, "Hey, look, these Muslims, majority of them are crying wolf. 99% of the time, it doesn't happen to them, and." Anytime you have a story now that talks about any abuse that a sister or a Muslim received, now it goes under the scrutiny that
Fake news.
Yeah.
Fake news.
That goes alternative facts.
Let's
that
talk
goes
about
to
it.
Yeah,
whole
she
thing
probably
about
had a
verification.
boyfriend, and her dad didn't want to find out. So
Well, that was the
fake
true
news.
case, right?
Yeah,
that was the one in
that
New
was one
York.
of them. Yeah.
Sister made some case up because she was dating some dude and parents shaved her head or something.
Yeah.
Which whether or not that's good parenting is like up to your discretion, But she got butthurt about it and like made up some fake news.
What I'm saying is, whatever it is, whatever reason it is, those stories gotta stop.
Yeah,
because
no.
it's hurting everybody around you, and it's taken away from people who legitimately have real problems in real life.
Sure.
Face it.
Before we wrap up, Yusuf, as someone who you're educated, you're professional, you're a married man. Give our listeners some advice as far as what they can do to as far as advance various causes. Like you obviously got pretty involved in the Standing Rock, and you have a definite passion for this, and along with other things as well. When we working Muslim professionals or students or whoever, have a limited amount of time. What's your take on how we should best strategize our free time as far as causes that we want to get involved in? What are your take on that situation?
Well, I mean, I guess it depends on what your capacity is, but I mean, I'm probably not the wrong person to ask. But
no, but to be honest, you're a dentist. You have a family man. I mean, a lot of people say that's enough for me not to get off my sofa. I go home, I'm tired, I work, come home, I don't want to move.
So that's the thing. Like, my personality is always like, I guess what I say is you got to be bold, man. You do. If you got an opportunity, man, you gotta take it. So, for example, I heard that was it Syrian American Muslim
Sam's?
Yes. So I know a sister that just came back from there. So I was looking into that. I mean, you just gotta go out and do it, man. It's like, stop being man, get up. I mean, the funny thing is my wife was saying that. She's like, man, go, man, stop being go out there, man.
About it. No, I think
I'm just saying, like,
Shirazi said the same thing on our show, right?
Yeah.
His wife pushes him, and I appreciate that because I would like. Because you got a full-time job, you're a dentist, you're in Cincinnati, you live like 6 hours away. You came into Chicago because there ain't no like lectures going on in Cincinnati, I guess. Ain't nothing on the, so like just move up here. But you come up here for like a weekend seminar to learn the Dean. And last night, instead of going like Devon and just chilling like Nahari, you hit up O'Hare for the protest.
Yeah.
With what's going on. And then you hit up class today, and you come here and tell us about your experiences at the reservation, and you're driving back tomorrow morning.
But I mean,
and you're back to work, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, like, it depends on your capacity. Not everybody can do everything, right? So sometimes I've seen some activists get real spread thin, like they're almost in. Especially, I guess, as undergrad, a lot of people are like that. But they're just down for down.
Hey,
like,
before you
like
leave,
every
though,
cause,
you gotta check out my molars.
Oh, I got you, babe.
No doubt.
I got you. But yeah, I mean. You can't fight it. It's almost just like Islam, right? If you they say, or I've read some students of knowledge say that you can't learn be an expert at everything, right? You can't be you'll be a jack of all trades, master of none, right?
Yeah.
You kind of if you want to be a master of something, then you got to kind of focus on it. So that's the way I see it. Like on if that's your capacity. If it's not your capacity, you're just like a random dude like me. I said take chances, man. You just got to get out there and do it. Like, for example, when I was out there, that's a funny thing. Aside funny note. There's a contingent from DC that came with from DC, the Muslim people, and the native Muslims. So they're all there, giving a little like a short talk. Finally, I felt so embarrassed. I seen these horses go by, and I love animals, right? And I just got off on the holiday, like ran to the horse, like, oh, let me ride that thing. So this big old horse got broken in 3 days ago. I just jumped on that sucker, and I got bucked off, got stomped on I got my freaking big old scar from standing right here. It stomped on my thing. Like, you just gotta take chances, man.
It stomped on your arm?
Yeah, it almost broke it. Like, that's what they thought it broke. But
wait, how did your hand get underneath its hoof?
Because when I was trying to get on, there's no saddle, so you just gotta jump on. It's like crazy high.
No, you're not supposed to do that.
So when I was and it just got broken in.
He was excited though.
No. What it means is the horse is just brought in, so it's not used to people riding it, so it's gonna kick you off.
You need a saddle dog.
No, that happened to me. No.
That's what I'm saying. That's how they ride out there.
But you know that
you're right. That's what I'm saying. Lakota natives.
They won't.
They're horse riders, baby.
Wow.
Yeah.
So do you think you found your niche though? Like, do you think you found, okay, hey, I've got my 9 to 5. I know you're about study. You've always been about studying Deen as long as I've known you. You've got that part of it, and then activism wise, do you think like this is like your support of the native people in America is going to be your niche, or you're still filling yourself out there?
I honestly feel like I'm just, if there's a cause and I feel like it's a right cause, I want to be down for it. So,
but you could be down with more than one,
right?
But that's what I'm saying.
But sometimes like you want to make sure you're not spread too thin, because sometimes focus it helps, as far as impact goes. You know what I mean?
I mean, the reason I'm even talking about it, because I obviously went out there, right? If I didn't go out there, then what we're going to talk about? So
the size of your beard, I don't know.
Or his hair.
I mean that's what's sad about it. That's why I really feel bad. There's so many good experiences that I had that we haven't even touched on, even the native Muslims that are out there. But I'll leave you with like one of the last things that it kind of haunts me in a way from that experience is that when we met with the elders that were there, he kept saying like, your people, my people, your people. This is how like he literally talks. He's old school. And he speaks more of his native language than freaking English. So he was like, what? And this is what he said. We're talking about we're Muslim. This is what we do. We came here to support you. We're down for a cause. Interestingly, it's very similar to Islamic culture. Or I could say Islamic, but I guess Arab culture, Arab tribes. So when they talk, JR, American horse, they're talking about from their lineage. Like, my great-great-grandfather is the one who stole horses from this general. And that's why it's American horse. You see what I'm saying? So there's like my people is a nation of warriors, like my lineage. So when they talk like that, they're talking to you like almost like that. So they're like, your people are like this, and your people. I'm like, nah, our people are like this. So what they see is on TV. They don't know no Muslims either when we went up there. So it was very interesting. The last thing that he said, like I said, it haunts me. He said, so why are you here? And I told him, this is what I'm here for. And then he says, what can you do for me? What can you do for our people? And that's like, I kind of got frozen because I really didn't know what to say. So, I mean, I told him what I felt I could do, but I just honestly feel like that actually haunts me inside because it's almost like, I don't know.
No, but what can we do in terms of being people who are just organizing and showing our opposition against this oppression,
I feel like this.
I think like me and my wife were driving back from a wedding the other day, and we saw all the protests that are happening in airports and whatnot around the country, and she was taking a lot of joy from that, and I was like, well, why aren't we there? And she's like, well,
you're at a wedding. That's why.
Yeah, I know, but
they had a stuffed lamb.
No,
singer.
I mean, that's the thing. You don't want to beat yourself up and kill yourself, but you gotta do.
You can't be everywhere at the same time. You can't do everything, but you just gotta acknowledge that do what you can do. I think people it's kind of a balance.
Yeah. فَمَن يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ خَيْرًا يَرَهُ وَمَن يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ شَرًّا يَرَهُ. Right. Yeah. So don't neglect anything small. So even if it's like all you can do is give a penny. All right, man, get them D's, man. Go. That's all you can do, man. Go do it. If you can organize something, go organize something. If you can, all you can do is press share on a freaking Facebook page. All right, do that. Like, just don't sit around and just like ruminate, like,
or judge other people. Some people are always like, we have negative Nancy's in the Muslim community too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Don't be a hater either.
Yeah, the naysayers are the worst. Because they don't want to do nothing, and then they condemn the other people that are actually trying to do something.
Yeah,
right. Those are the worst kind of people. Those are the people. If you got them in your life, weed them out.
And
like,
Mort,
you got no time for them.
Yeah, give them naysayers a quick message, real quick, like you told them fools about who fake news too. Give them naysayers.
Stop it! It ain't cute. Stop it. I mean, no, it's true though. I mean, look, nobody wants negativity around you, right? I mean, nobody wants that. If I came in here and said, I don't know, I met Mahin, like, hey, you look ugly today, or you're not going to do anything, right? I'm not going to come and sit with the guy.
Even though that's true.
No, yeah, whatever you believe, dude.
Right.
But what I'm saying is that you wouldn't want to come and hear that from somebody every day. The same thing is when somebody's trying to do something they feel heartfelt about and they're doing what they can do, and they have somebody else just writing on Facebook, oh, you guys really don't make a difference, right? What are they going to do? Is they going to change anything? You didn't do anything, right? So there's no point in behaving that way.
Right.
But people who do that generally do it because they're guilty about not doing something. Like
Look,
they just feel like they're not.
If you don't do anything, things will just keep progressing. So even this last news, I don't know if you guys are aware that Republicans are basically pushing bills that prevent like lawful assembly. So I don't know if you guys heard about it. Basically, they're banning mass protests. If you have mass, in Standing Rock is in response to that, you can actually run over somebody who's blocking the road, kill him, like basically murder. Yeah. Like they're legalizing that because of what all the water protectors that are out there.
But if you take over federal buildings in Wyoming,
if you're a white man,
that's completely okay.
And your name's Bundy, you could do it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yusuf,
if you Bundy,
that's that privilege.
Yeah, you got it.
Yusuf, man,
yes, sir.
Just like for coming on.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's really insightful for all of us. I remember we were chatting a few months ago, and you told me how life changing this experience was, and I think we got a little taste of that today. I actually, and I do want to apologize for my earlier. I made I think that was an out of taste joke.
You need to apologize, dude. You out of line.
About the whole, there's natives left, because I thought Andrew Jackson killed them all. Obviously, I know there's natives around, but that kind of statement is, in general, like, I think I would have pushed it there, so we don't have to edit that out. I'll just, like, keep those apologies for the very end. Cause I think that there's a limit, like, if some white dude was like, oh, Muslims are still around, I thought, like, what's his face, Richard Lionheart killed y'all off or something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No, but to be fair, I think you didn't really know the gravity of the situation until he explained how it is.
Exactly, yeah.
I think that really sunk in at the end.
Yeah. As you're talking about it, and there's a lot of commonalities we have. It sounds like with the native people and their connection to their tradition.
What's really sad is that if you go back further enough before this land was discovered, the Muslims were trading with these people long before.
Yeah,
like the Moors, the Barbars, they had established trade routes here with them.
Even if you're talking about from a human perspective, you can always relate just from an ethical, moral standpoint. If you're talking about Muslim perspective, there's Muslim people out there. There are Muslim native people out there. You feel me?
Yeah.
So,
right.
No matter what way you want to look at it.
Yeah. Any way you look at it, it's wrong.
Yeah. It is from a cultural ignorance that comes from television and whatever. Like we were talking about earlier, when we were talking about the riots in Ferguson and whatnot, you see a CVS burning, and I remember watching that scene on TV, and I'm like, man, they're burning down their own neighborhoods, and I'm looking at that, and I rewinded back to that thought, and I thought, like, this is what they want me to think. Because they just keep on zooming in on that CVS burning. Right. And they want you to think like, oh, look at those savages. And they're programming your thoughts that way. They want you, they know that you're going to be thinking like that. And they're reinforcing your stereotypes and other logical fallacies that you might have in your mind.
What's funny? On the last note, sorry about this. So before we came here tonight, they kind of told me, you went out to the Dakota Pipeline thing, and so I was like, oh, let me just see what's going on out there. So I popped open on YouTube, right, and this, obviously InfoWars has their stuff about this, Dakota, right?
God. Oh,
so this guy comes out.
I can't listen, man.
I'm not
sure I can listen to words.
No, but he had the nerve to say that. You know how they showed you a picture of attack dogs with blood in their mouth? Yeah, well, that happened because a protester actually hit the dog with a bat in the face, so the blood was dripping out, and so these dogs were just regular good service dogs that were there for, as guard dogs. And, after they started hitting the dog in the face with the pipe is when they started biting people. And I'm thinking to myself, if any of you have been around any, guard dogs, those dogs are not fun dogs to be around.
Well, that's the funny thing. That specific issue, I know the people who got bit that day. Those dogs were biting their owners. So they weren't trained mercenary. They're security.
Actually, in the video footage, you see one of them jumping up backward and trying to bite the guy who's holding the leash.
It was biting horses at the neck. It kicked the horse kicked someone, broke his arm or something like that. So
wow.
It's just all misinformation and smoke and mirrors. Like everything that's happened, I swear. Just look it up. Y'all watch the video, read it. Yeah. It's all information's out there. It's not like complicated or nothing like that. But the last thing I hope the people actually listen to is Phyllis Young. One of the arguments is that they already consulted the tribes. So they already considered tribes. They said okay. That's like one of the counters, right? And then Phyllis Young, she's one of the I think she's a historian or she's a tribal member for sure of Standing Rock. 2 years ago, it's recorded in their freaking tribal council. Her talking about DAPL, saying like, no, I don't want you. I mean, listen, it's chilling when you listen to that. So it's on YouTube. And so the last thing is, if you want to donate, I mean, if you want to go up there, show up there, just don't just go up there and wait around. It's not a tourist attraction, right? You got to do some work, but either go up there and do work or donate. If you want to donate, there's legal funds, there's the camp funds, there's multiple funds.
Cool. Hey, Yusuf, again, jazakallah khair for coming on. For our listeners out there, if you have any questions or comments, you can email us at themadmamluks@gmail.com. You can also like our Facebook page, follow us on Twitter, and subscribe to us if you have iTunes. And rate us 5 stars on iTunes, please. We don't ask for a lot from you guys, but please, a 5-star rating on iTunes really goes a long way. For my good buddy and fellow Ohio State alum, Yusuf Cincinnati, and my co-host, Mort and SIM, this is Mahin, signing off for the Mad Mamluks. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam. Live feeds weren't going in and out. Whoa. So that's why you can't even send out what was happening there at the time. There's mercenaries that are literally hired like privacy, almost like Blackwater. So I don't know if it's conspiracy theory or not. Somebody said they confirmed it. That was an actual Blackwater employee or Aloha. But when we were doing one of the interviews with actually the son of Dave Archambault, who's a tribal leader at of the tribal council of Standing Rock, while we're on the river, while we're talking with the family, right? Literally down the river in a canoe. I have the picture. I'll show you too. Down the canoe, 2 mercenaries like trying to creep, just looking at us down the.
What? That's insane.
I mean, it's funny, and we're just looking at it, we're just waving like, what the freak is this? And so I'm thinking like there's just people like part of the camp or something, and the people were with her, like she's like I think her name's Sophia. She's like, I'm from here. I know everybody up and down this river. That ain't know we know. Like that's DAPL. They're up and down here all the time. DAPL security, DAPL mercenaries that they hire. People on sniper rifles. People literally on sniper rifles. No exaggeration. On high hilltops, we have to use drones left and right that they're shooting down, confiscating illegally. So it's a confiscation of journalism of what's happening. So you don't get the full picture basically. So first-hand experience is the best.
Insane.